There we go. Welcome to the May 1st, 2026 meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commission, Lincoln Government Day meeting. Will you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, welcome to our meeting today. Going to take a minute and introduce some of the staff that are here. We have Kevin Horn from Public Works, Roger Baltz, Chief Administrative Officer for the county. I'm Tom Rolfe, Chairman of the Commission this year. Commissioner Candace Payne. We have the Sheriff, Leo Dutton, and Jacob Miles, who's going to give us a report on the Public Works Department. Public health. Sorry about that. All right, and we're going to just go down the regular. Did everybody have a chance to sign in up here? We love to have your name and contact information. If you'll be sure to sign the sheet. And then there's also an agenda right near there. Has a list of all the things we're going to try and talk about today. One of the things is, and for those of you that are new to the meeting, we have to record these meetings now and put them on our website, and including a video. And the camera's back here, so if you have a question or if you have something that you'd like to say, we ask that you come up to the podium and state your name so that it can be picked up over here on the camera, so that we can get all that together for the public record. We're gonna start with the sheriff's report. Sheriff Dutton, you want to?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello. This is not plugged in, it just makes me feel better. How are you all today? Good. Thank you for, obviously, nothing to do with me. Something must be on the roads. I never draw this kind of crowd, so appreciate you all being here. Trying to think of what my last, if I told you about my last excursion, my wife and I went on an excursion, picking up our luggage, and she fainted on the luggage carousel. But she came around slowly.
Oh, Leo, you gotta work on that. Material. Your presentation is.
I reclaim my time. I just wasn't sure that I told you about that. I know we've been working hard. I grilled a chicken for 2 hours the other day. Still wouldn't tell me why he crossed the road, but we're on it. Yeah. Anyway, you might as well laugh. It doesn't get any better. I'm telling you.
I hear these every day.
Anyway, the sheriff's office has been busy, and for those of you that are whipping and spurring this morning, we're out there on the road. We have the highway patrol here. I'll ask him to, if it's all right with you, Mr. Chairman, when I get done, if he has a report of any kind. The detention center has been busy with special guests that have come in, and guests of yours. This morning, I believe we were at 147, which is not full. We have a pretrial program that works with them, and I know it's controversial. Sometimes they don't have to put up bail, but they have to report in like 3 times a week and go to classes where some of the people that can afford bail are just out and gone. So it is budget time, and it's kind of the time where you have to go through and look at what you can afford and what you can't afford. This year, there's a lot of things we can't afford. We're taking good care of our employees, but on the other hand, we only get so much in the public safety mill levy. So if you increase wages, you gotta decrease something else. The other day, we were looking at a 1.5 million in cuts. So we gotta do it. If we go out and say, we need more money, that's more property tax, and I know how you like that. So, we're not doing that. We're just gonna live within our means. You think with all the new development around that there would be just, we'd be living in all kinds of money, but there was a tax break given, so our revenue is down. And no, we're not going out and getting revenue on the highway either. Our main goal is public safety, and that's what we've been working on. So I'm just telling you, sometimes if you don't see a deputy, that's why. The amount of money that we have, we're trying to pay good, but the availability to you, we're doing our best. We will continue to do our best. Trying to think of other exciting things that have happened. Some of them are still under investigation, so I can't say all of those. I'll tell you that there's kind of a difficult underbelly with the internet. And those of you that dabble on the internet and have a penchant for looking at young ladies, we'll find you. Not that it's gonna be this crowd, but I'm talking to the ones out there in the TV land, that we have an internet crimes against children detective that works with the FBI, and they are busy all the time. So we live in a nice place, we really do. And if we seem a little jaded, it's because we see the bottom 3% of people most of the time, except when we get to come to meetings like this. That's why we enjoy this. Even if you're complaining about the dog barking next door, that's a far cry from a child being accosted. So if we look happy that your dog barking, or your neighbor's dog barking, don't be mad at us. It's just kind of nice to hear something that's not such a felony. We did get a grant for, I think I told you, putting in for a grant through Troy Downing, Congressman Downing, for $500,000 direct appropriations. We got that. Now we're looking at the technology about how to best use this. So some of it has changed. Fortunately, we have a great radio guy we picked up, and he's presented a couple of options that we're going to look at and how it works. It's pretty interesting. I'm not a radio, they get offended when you say nerd, so geek, radio geek, that really understands it. I'm glad he is. He works with us. Jackson Brooks is his name. So those are things that are, there's a lot more happening. Up here in Lincoln, Chance Hill, Deputy Hill, I won't say Chance hasn't had a chance to show up. That's how you didn't laugh at the other ones. Anyway, we'll work with it. So, if you have questions for me, I would invite the good Sergeant Zach to come up, if that's okay with you, Mr. Chairman. Breaker 19. You gotta come up to the microphone.
Give me the microphone.
Thank you.
I really don't have anything much to report on. I am Sergeant Zach Freeman with the Highway Patrol. We have 2 detachments out of the Helena area, and I command one of those. Yeah, I don't have anything in particular to report on. Our fatal numbers are going down, so fatal crashing on the road seem to be declining. We were really busy in the beginning of the year, but statistics would show us that come springtime, people start getting a little energetic again, and so just be careful on the road. I'm sure you guys have seen road construction start back up. It's that time of year, again, there's a big project going on just south of Wolf Creek. That'll be going on for a couple more months. I'm not aware of any projects on Highway 200. I don't think anything really will be up here. But if you guys are traveling down to Helena, there'll be the county's doing a project, I believe, on Lincoln Road, kind of in the Applegate area. So to save you some frustration, maybe take, as you come down Lincoln Road, take the roundabout, go on Green Meadow to town. That'll probably be, save you guys some time and frustration, so. That's all I got.
Let's stay up there for just a second, Mr. Chair, may I?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
One thing that,
Wait till it's recorded, Leo.
my name's John Peoplefester, I'm from Tacoma, Washington. One thing we are working with, it's nice to be in command because you're the last to ever find out, so I'll mention something that we are working with the Highway Patrol on, and that is spike strips. Spike strips that are remotely deployed. So we're working with the guy who invented them from the Netherlands. He's gonna come out here, we're gonna show him what Highway Patrol does. They have more pursuits. And the reason I bring this up is you had a nasty bad dude coming in on that side of town. Wasn't slowing down, and they tried to throw spike strips 3 times. And the guy took on the officer, 2 of the Highway Patrol, 1 of mine, and would have killed him. So we have more value than a dog, because sometimes that's how we feel that some of these people think. So what can we do? Well, we can go find money to find, these are remote deployed spike strips. You don't have to stand by them, they're spendy. But we're looking at that technology to save our lives, and consequently, they'll save your lives. You think, well, just discontinue. This person's not gonna discontinue. Would have come through Lincoln at 100 miles an hour. So if you're wondering, well, why don't we just discontinue, what was the precipitating events that we know, but when they put the public in danger, we have to stop it. Those are things we can't continue with, and it's called, what's it, precision, what's it?
Precision immobilization technique, the PIT technique.
Yep, that one. Your cars are built for it, but if it's something bad, even though your car is not built for it, we'll try that. But those are techniques, and those are the criminals that we're facing. You don't see it, we do. You see it, you see the rolled over wreckage and that kind of stuff, but they didn't get to you. They stood in the gap, and we're investing in going to look at seeing what kind of technology we can take advantage of, so we don't have funerals for law enforcement officers. So thanks for your help, I appreciate it. Maybe you knew, didn't know, but congratulations.
That's all I got.
I got a question for you. Can I get it? Okay. I had everybody calls the county commissioners and complains about whatever. Okay, this was a complaint on Highway 200, west of Boxendale Road. And this gentleman is apparently a runner. And he said, there is so much trash on that, in the borrow pits and in the road there. And I said, it's a state highway. And the Department of Transportation does not listen to the county commissioners. Maybe they don't listen to you, but I would think that you might have more, because I would think, it might blow and cause a wreck, or if you could talk to the people at the DOT about running a pickup crew. We do it on all of our county roads that we can. I worked last night down on Deal Lane by the dump. So that would, if you would pass that along to whomever you can think about, get the damn trash off Highway 200. It looks bad, and it's a bad reflection on our community.
Very well, I'll pass it on.
Thank you, kind sir.
All right.
Any other questions?
Any more questions for either the sheriff or the highway department? All right, thank you very much for being here. All right, next, we normally have a community council report. Zach Muse is here to get another appointment. Is there somebody that wants to make a community council report in his stead?
I'm Rick Foreman, I'm a board member on the community council. We had our meeting on April 21st. That's the third Wednesday of every month. We have our meeting. We talked, they come talking about putting a stop sign coming out of sculpture in the park. It's a private entity, and it's like a driveway, but you gotta get with the highway department to put a stop sign, and they're in the works on that, we're working on that. Somebody thinks they need a stop sign there, for people pulling out of the park, right onto the highway. But anyway, that was one other discussion. There are 3 empty seats on the community council. We do have 2 other people that put in for it, so hopefully we only have 1 empty seat now. So we'll have some new members. They talked about the Copper Creek Road, that's in question, and working on that. It's going back to gravel, is what I understand. And with the summer traffic, it's gonna get bad with potholes, because they tore up all it was blacktop and it was always full of potholes. And they decided to tear it all of blacktop out. May 15th of May is Hooper Park opens up for the summer season. Niles reported that. Are you ready for the park to open?
Not yet.
Not yet. The 15th of May, the park should be open for business. You can still use it, and the baseball fields are working, but the camping and stuff can open up. Talked about vacancies. We talked about the mine going up, what road is that? Holcomb Creek, yeah. They had a little thing at the community hall, and the mine people, they're apparently spending money. Zach said, was holding his hand out, says, you can help me out and build my new command center, but that don't mean I'm gonna support the mine. But anyway. So that's going in. And about the fire department's new command center, we talked about that a little bit, and they're applying for grants, and that's in the works. And that's all I got. And,
Any questions? Any questions?
Mr. Chair, may I comment on behalf of the community council
You
at
bet.
the meeting, just to clarify a couple things with
Yeah.
MDT on the stop sign?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Kevin Horn. I'm with County Public Works. Thanks, Rick. I just wanted to clarify, I do sit on the panel for community council the third Tuesday every month as well. I helped with the legwork for that stop sign, reached out to our MDT friends. So they have done multiple studies out there for that stop sign. It came back to me and back to community council that it is a private approach. It's not an MDT approach. So there has to be an encroachment permit that goes with that sign that goes up. So I'm not sure who might take the lead on that. We put that in front of the council on Tuesday night. MDT will not fund that sign either. It is out of county jurisdiction, so I can't help with that within MDT right away. So if somebody does take the lead on that, there is forms on MDT's website. They can fill out an encroachment. I think signs are $300, $400, whatever they might be, but there are certain criteria that has to be met. So don't just go put a stop sign up. They've done multiple studies on that section of road for speed and other things. So if anybody has any more information, we can definitely get, I sent all that stuff to Zach through their MDT's traffic engineer. So just wanted to clarify that there may or may not be a stop sign that goes in there due to a private approach, okay? So happy to answer any questions after that, Rick. I just wanted to help a little bit with that piece.
All right. Any other questions for community council? And related to the community council, we've got the sewer district. Eric, if you want to do that, again, state your name so that we get it on the record.
Yeah, Eric Gould, representing the Lincoln, Lewis and Clark County Sewer District. On April 9th, when the snow and ice finally receded off our ponds, out there during normal inspections, we detected a breach in the liner. When we had those high wind events, this past winter, and we didn't have a frozen lake like we usually do, that ice actually turned into a churn and chewed up the east bank. So we have a 450-foot breach of our Pond 3 down the stretch. We notified Montana Rural Water immediately to see what we could do for disbursement, because we hadn't started our land application yet. So we were informed we could go ahead and start early to get the ponds down, to get the water below the breach level. We notified DEQ on Monday, because this was like over the weekend kind of finding. So we notified DEQ on Monday. We've had records of all our meetings with all the agencies involved in this, so Montana Rural Water, DEQ, and we contacted Staley Engineering, since that was the engineering firm who actually put the ponds in originally. They have come and said they were going to assist us, so they came out and did a site assessment. Right now, we're doing the lagoon drop. We're trying to get the water level down to where we can do the sludge management, because there's a lot of procurement stuff we got to do in between before we can actually repair this lagoon. So as of that, on emergency proclamation 1-2026, declaring the existence of a local emergency in order to procure services to repair Lagoon Pond 3, whereas Lincoln, Lewis, and Clark Sewage District in Maine, and furthermore, of its authority under section 754101 MCA has agreed there is an urgent need to purchase services to repair the breach in pond number 3 of the district's wastewater treatment system serving the town of Lincoln. Whereas the district wastewater system, one of the most vital pieces of the infrastructure to the town, the breach in pond 3 has occurred as a result of severe winds causing turbulent waves pushing the ice shelf into the east embankment, cutting through the pond liner, posing an immediate threat to public health, safety, and environment. Whereas the breach in pond 3 creates a risk of uncontrolled release of untreated or partially treated wastewater, which could contaminate nearby groundwater and potentially the impact of the Blackfoot River, located approximately 100 to 150 yards from the wastewater storage lagoon. The condition cannot be adequately addressed without immediate repair of the pond. Whereas on April 17, 2026, the Lincoln, Lewis, and Clark Sewer District declared an emergency exists within the meaning of section 754303 MCA, and that it is necessary for the district to continue to provide daily service to its citizens and preserve the public health. Whereas the district board has determined that in light of the public emergency, it is necessary to procure immediate repair services to repair the breach in pond 3 before contamination, and such services must be attained without following the usual competitive bidding process as permitted by section 744303 of the MCA. Now therefore, being it resolved that the Lincoln, Lewis, and Clark Sewer District, pursuant to section 754303-2 MCA, hereby authorize the expedited procurement of repair services for the breach of pond 3 in order to better address the declared emergency and serve the public interest. This was introduced and passed the 17th of April, 2026. It was 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. And this document was recorded at the county clerk recorder's office. So all the agencies have a copy of this, and it was recorded at the county. So that's where we're at currently.
Any questions for Eric?
Yes.
Ma'am, if you
Oh, I
stand,
have to stand up?
if you would, we need to,
And
if you give us your name, please.
Well, my question is just,
No, name.
who's, Lori Welty, who's doing the repairs and how much?
That process goes from Staley Engineering to DEQ. So the board has no say on this procedure. So the Staley Engineering and DEQ go back and forth to approve a design process to fix and repair. All we're doing right now is working with Montana Wastewater to get the pond safe, and getting the materials that are in there disposed of. But all the engineering and the stuff past that will be Staley Engineering working with DEQ. So they'll go back and forth and get the approved plan. So on my understanding, that could take up to a year on their thing. So we have some issues with the pond not being in use for a year. So we're trying to push, that's why we're doing the declaration to push this, because we can't do the normal process.
Okay, so I'm assuming that we're gonna put this on our schedule of agendas and just keep track of it as.
Yeah, it's on Tuesday's meeting also, thing, and hopefully I'm trying to get one of the engineers from Staley up to ask her questions that pertain to engineering, because the board is really gonna be out of this, and we're gonna have to leave it to the DEQ and the engineering to handle that pond issue, due to the fact of proximity to the river, because we can't have nukes, you know.
What sort of process have you got to let people know what's going on?
Well, since we're just right now in the gathering phase and getting the engineering requirements in, we have an actual meeting on Tuesday night, our normal board meeting, that has been placed on the agenda, so we can bring the community up to speed of where we're at, where we're handling it, and that it is gonna be handed off to the engineering from this point as of the 17th. So the engineering agreement will go in place full-time, and then they'll handle all grant writing, grant procurement, and work related to the pond. That, and then the second phase will be that we will put out for bid to a couple engineering firms on how to do our 40-year maintenance and upgrade because of some of this. You know, the pond, that pond is 27 years old. We got ponds 1 and 2 are over 40 years old. We're lowering the water in all of them so we can kind of get an assessment of what's the condition of liners and liner assessment, because the rules have changed, and those liners and the way it was done in the 90s is not up to here, so you know how it is when you're doing repairs, you gotta bring it to code. So that's causing even some more work-related issues of bringing it to code.
Okay. Any other questions about the sewer district? Any other questions about sewer district?
I've got a question.
Go ahead.
So, I'm thinking about money, of course, because that's what we do. Are there grants available to help with this work, or do
Yeah.
you?
But we have a grant writer who's from Staley Engineering. They're assisting in that grant writing process. Due to the fact it's an emergency declaration, they'll be able to reach out to the county and state emergency funds, you know, that are in there for those. Also federal FEMA, because it was a wind-related event, and it was already declared a national or an emergency declaration, there's $5 million tap to that. So that's why we're using the engineering, so all the wording and stuff comes out clean, so we can go for those grants. Yeah, the pond liner itself is $500,000 for that 6-acre pond. It's not cheap just for the materials. Fencing that needs to be done to repair because of the wind damage, that's another $154,000. We already got the bids in on that. So we have a lot of money, and yet we do not have the populace to support this. So we have to reach out and do through the grant process and procurement process.
But we also need to keep, I mean, this benefits not just the people here in Lincoln. I mean, it's everybody up and down the river.
Correct.
Who, I mean, it's a big deal. So thank you for your hard work.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the sewer district? Any other questions? Thank you.
Yep, thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Let's see, do we have somebody here from the Forest Service? Maybe for
Yes.
again, state your name and.
Good afternoon, morning, actually. I'm Jason Gilbert. I'm the Assistant Fire Management Officer for the Lincoln Ranger District. It's my turn for the month of May to be the acting ranger, so this is my spiel. So as I mentioned before, Copper Creek Road, they are pulverizing that and trying to get it back up to specs with less bumps and potholes in the road. So that will be going on until June. So I've got some flyers I'll hand out if people haven't seen those. Some other roads on the district that will be maintaining will be Dalton Mountain Road and Nevada Creek Road. There'll be blading, watering, and rolling those road systems. With all the low down stuff, as the snow recedes, we're trying to get our crews out there and cut the roads out. With all the low down we have, it's a lot of stuff that got taken down. So just be patient, flexible. We're trying to do our best out there to get those roads cleared for the public. So timber sales going on. We've got Hogan Creek. Currently, we have no activity going on there. Commercial harvesting is finished in Hogan Creek for Hogan Wildfire Resilient Project. There's about 10 loads of logs that have to come off that sale still, with some compliance related road work that will continue throughout the midsummer. our Willow Creek sit-down. There's no current activity. We'll resume harvest on units on the east fork of Willow Creek after breakup. And then just wanted to make sure that people are aware, as far as the public, there's no cutting of firewood on the active logging sales. Lincoln Springs, people are probably aware of that project. It's a timber sale contract that we're being drafted. It's about 4.8 million board feet. There's a plan to do a site visit with potential purchasers sometime during this mid to late spring. You probably noticed there's an increased presence of our folks up there in Lincoln Gulch, running chainsaw, thinning, piling, burning. So you'll see quite a bit of activity going on up there. As far as prescribed burning, we'll be burning in West Flesher, Hogan Creek, Indian Meadows, Foreman Creek, Dalton, with some brush disposal units, and Helmville. And then also continue with our pile burning across the district with the firewood stuff that's on the side of the roads. So, as of today, we are conducting a prescribed burn out in Hogan Creek. It's about 315 acres. Be very visible from Highway 200, both directions, and from as you cross over Flesher. So we do have signs out for people not to report it, but it's our first big burn for the season. It should be a good window for us today with the weather and all the conditions we have out there. So,
Any questions for the Forest Service? Any questions? Thank you for being here, really appreciate it.
thank you.
All right, we've got, public, let's see, oh, I'm sorry, DNRC, we got anybody from DNRC? All right, Public Works, Kevin Horn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Payne. Once again, for the record, my name is Kevin Horn. I oversee the operations for County Public Works. Got quite a list of stuff to go over. I'm going to kind of go through this a little bit quick. I wanted to maybe just piggyback just a hair on the Copper Creek reconstruction that the Forest Service is doing. Our county is in great partnership with the Forest Service. As you guys well know, last year with Jimmy, we helped with some repairs to try to get through the winter. Since that point, we've met with engineer Dan Wood, forest engineer, also Kathy Bushnell and her team. We have a cooperative forest agreement with the Forest Service. It's called a Schedule A agreement. What that consists of is there's roads that are outlined within that agreement that allows the Forest Service to do work on our roads and or allows the county to do work on their roads. So what we have proposed, since we have to go all the way up to Landers Fork, over that, 2.5 mile section of Copper Creek to plow snow and grade, that we were trying to enter into an agreement. Forest Service grading schedules, they're dealing with 8,000 to 10,000 miles of roads, so it might be every 2-3 years. We have proposed to the county, to the Forest Service, to allow us to grade that road when we do Landers Fork, at least once a year, to try to keep it in reasonable condition. A, to get our plow trucks up there, and B, for the folks that recreate and actually live up there. So I know Jason wasn't at the meeting, but I just wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah.
Didn't know what quite to start. I'm glad to see the sun shining actually in Montana. I mean, you guys are up there. It's been a rough winter, been a rough spring. It's either frozen, raining, snowing, mud. I mean, it's been tough on us. So I wanted to just take a few minutes to let you know where we've come and where we're headed and what we've been up against as a county, and just maybe try to put it in perspective for folks. I have fielded a lot of calls up here. We have a customer portal that you can report issues. I brought some cards, it's got a QR code on it. That has been super beneficial for me personally. A lot of people don't like to call and complain, I get that. With 1,500 miles of county roads across the county, we can't be everywhere. And I really rely on some of that information coming in from the public to say, hey, that bridge end's bad, or hey, there's a huge pothole, or We look at that every single morning, and we also share that in our monthly reports. Director Chambers does with our commissioners, the amount. That is working well, so please utilize that system. It helps us help you. Some of the challenges that we've been up against up here, currently we're sitting with 9 equipment operators in Helena. 2 we've always had in Lincoln up till Mr. McDunn retired a couple years ago. We have had a heck of a time trying to fill those positions. There's still 2 positions available right now that are open. The good news is with that we, in the last month, we received 4 applicants. So that's awesome. They're going through the screening process right now. I'm hoping some of those 4 do meet basic qualifications where we might be able to get to that interview process. With that being said, out of the 9 operators that we have had in Helena, 2 have been dedicated to Lincoln since the 3rd week of March. Travis mainly, and then we kind of alternate a guy with him. So during those heavy storms, I was actually putting him up in hotel room up here to make sure we could keep, the snow plowed. I know the one storm at the end of March, he worked 11 days straight up here, trying to keep things open. And he's been traveling every day from Helena for the grading stuff. So I know it's probably not up to par as everybody wants it to be. Stemple Pass, I'll go into that in a little bit more detail, but you guys recall the windstorm that they were just talking about with the sewer treatment plant up there. We got hit just as hard. Heard Jason talk about it. They're still cleaning it up. I don't know how many loads we hauled out of Lincoln, but a lot. And we just finally finished that cleanup on Heron on the big cottonwoods on the corner just recently. We got kind of snowed in at the top of Stemple. A lot of them got buried in the ditches when we started plowing snow. But we got that piece cleaned up. Culverts on Stemple, we started that process a few weeks ago. We went from top to bottom, anticipating rain and melt off. I know we didn't have a lot of snow, but some of these last storms that we got dumped quite a bit of heavy wet stuff. So our crews made sure all the culverts were clean. Still got water on the road, still got mud bogs, still got black mud coming through. It's just been so saturated on Stemple, there's not a heck of a lot we can do until we get it drying up. We've made it to Twin Gulch at least, with some of our grading. Francis knows this very well, grading roads. I mean, we can't get in the ditches right now, they're too moist, right? So to bring that up on the roads, we'd be making more of a mess, so we've just been trying to cut the tops of them. When you go through all of those freeze, thaw, rain, snow cycles, it's horrendous on dirt roads, you guys. So we do about 60 miles of roads in the Lincoln area for grading operations. And to put that into perspective, I always like to do this because 60 miles doesn't seem like very long, very much road. But you think about when our operators are pulling ditches and processing that material, they're running 12 to 14 times within that mile of road, 12 to 14 passes. So every mile of road we grade is about 12 to 14 miles. So if you add up that 60 miles, we're pushing 800 miles just in the Lincoln area. Most of the guys can do a mile a day. If we have some wide open stretches, we might open up a mile and a half or a little bit more, but that's what we can do on average. So take that 800 miles, right, on a daily basis, that's how long it takes us to try to get to that stuff. Not making excuses, just trying to put it into perspective a little bit for folks to understand. And I always try to, when people call me, that's what I always try to explain to them. This spring, we haven't done pulled ditches and that. We had Travis just cutting the tops. I mean, these roads were super rough, right? I mean, 4x4, Stemple, Dalton, all the roads were rough. They took a toll. This is what we've got done so far. I mentioned we made it Stemple all the way to Twins Gulch. We've made it to the second cattle guard on Dalton. The upper section is in pretty tough shape right now. There's a lot of black mud coming through there. Thompson's with Silver Slope, they did a lot of logging up there. We got water we've never seen before with all the trees gone. So fought some of those issues through the winter. There's been water on the road there. We need to do some drainage work up there early on this spring. We did get the Dorothy Dalton Triangle done, North Lincoln Gulch, Penny Lane, Sunrise, Sunset, good news. South Lincoln Gulch, North Beaver Creek, Lone Point, Sucker Creek to the Cattle Guard, 4x4, and Landers Fork. Those are what we got right now. What we still have on the radar: Airport Road, High Sign, Spring Creek, Heron, Upper Stonewall, by Parlin Park up there, and Upper Dalton. Within that process, all of our bridge ends were blown out too, as you guys probably well know. They had water in them and great big mud holes, and we try to do repairs with millings. As we get, most of them I think are in okay shape right now, and most of the cattle guards are in okay shape, because we spent about almost 2 weeks just trying to put gravel in and try to firm them up. As we get back to grading those roads, we'll probably even add more gravel and get them smoothed up, so you can kind of look forward to that piece. I wanted to talk just a hair about Stemple, because that's always the hottest topic. You know, being a mail route, there's a lot of folks that live up there, and it's nice scenic cut across road, if you will. We have 5 pretty good washouts up there. If you're traveling Stemple, please be cautious, look for the washouts. We're in the process now of trying to secure permitting through FWP, 310 and 124 permits to do some of those repairs. The reason being is the one up by Gravely Range, where that slid and broke loose off the road right now is only about 19 feet wide. All the materials at the bottom was sitting really close to the floodplain. So I got to get equipment 70 feet off that steep bank somehow. We're securing landowner access agreements. We've already got permission to do that. If FWP works with us on some 310 and 124 permits for the bull trout, we might be able to get some machinery down there to build it from the bottom up. Our drainage crews started last Wednesday. We would have been on it a little bit sooner, but we had to close the Craig River Bridge to do some major repairs on that. That crew's now available, and they started up here Monday on all that repair work. So be cautious of that when they get done on Stemple, which I have no idea how long that's going to take, because there's a lot of work to do up there. We'll probably move over to the upper Dalton side to fix some of the drainage issues where we got water coming out of the banks and running across the road, and also a lot of dig outs on upper Dalton up there where, you know, Jaden and Forkin and some of those folks live up there. There's a lot of mud coming through. We got anybody live up Alice Creek in here? I think there's a slide up there that just took place on Alice Creek as well that I got word of earlier in the week that we're going to have to do some repair on that. Good news, hard surface roads, everything in town. So we got word that CAP was going to be up here paving your folks' new establishment down the road for that parking lot. I know Zach is working on behalf of the Forest Service to get those folks to do a bunch of patchwork within the Forest Service lot as well. The problems that we have right in front of the co-op there on 6th Street with all those big messy potholes, we're going to come in here within the next 2 weeks, and that's all going to get ground out, and we're going to put a new mat on that section, 2 inches asphalt. They're going to perform that work for us. We can't go into the parking lot, of course. We have to stay within our right-of-way, but we're hoping that's going to take care of that issue for a while to come, I guess. All the semis and heavy truck traffic that use the back fuel pumps, that's where they're all coming out, and that's what's causing all that. So we're going to grind that out, put a thicker mat in there and try to hold it. Also, we had our construction engineer up about a week and a half ago to tour every single road and mark every pothole that we have and get a quantity. So that same subcontractor is going to patch all those potholes while they're up here. So typically we do that with our patch truck, but being, you know, shorthanded with manpower and all the repairs that we have to do in the Lincoln area, we're gonna hire them out to patch them. So most of the hard surface by May 15th should be all taken care of within town. That leaves sweeping. I usually try to get everything swept by the big festivities for the 4th of July. I don't know what that looks like, just to be 100% honest. We're still finishing up county roads in town. We started in some rural improvement districts. We're pretty unique because being a government entity, not a lot of people have pickup rooms for sweeping, right? So we help our RID folks out as well to try to get some of the sand cleaned up. Our goal is still to have it done by 4th of July and have it cleaned up. And I did the little tour this morning. There's a lot of pine cones and sand and stuff that we put out. So that is the intent to try to have that. Hooper Park, where's Niles? I see Niles here. They're turning the water on May 11th. Sounds like, with the building folks. That's the word I got from Mac yesterday.
Ken was up here and got it all ready to go.
It's all ready to go. I think it's going on the 11th is what he told me, but you would know more than I would on that, but you'll get some water coming soon it sounds like. I mentioned Copper Creek Road, and Jason, if there's anything you to do, I did put a request in, if you're gonna have grade crews up here through Dan Wood, if he could find some time with your subcontractor to maybe tune up the old cemetery road to our property up there as well, that we have a lot of local folks that visit that frequently, so.
Sure.
Other than that, folks, I have the portal cards there. Sheriff Dutton mentioned the budget presentations. Ours are May 28th, I believe, that we'll be presenting all of our budgets to our elected officials for their review and approval, and that has to do with our, under our operations side, that's our road budgets, our bridge budgets, you know, our sign, our mill levies, our shop maintenance budgets. I think in Public Works, I don't even want to count because Audra's not here, but I think there's upwards, maybe Roger, 30 budgets that go out of Public Works with everything. So we've been busy the last month in preparation for all those meetings that take place that last week of March. So I am happy to answer any questions. I was trying to give a 100,000-foot view of what we have going on for everybody. I do look forward to coming up here quarterly. That's why I'm always up here in May, because we're in between seasons. And I woke up this morning with a basement full of sewage, and my wife getting home from Oregon last night, and I left her with that, with everything. But that's how important it is to me to be here, to be able to share information with you folks. Because it's like, you're going to go, where this morning? I said, well, a lot of people relying on us up there. So thanks, folks. Appreciate all your patience. We'll get you tuned up here.
Yeah, we've got a question over here.
Kevin,
Well,
sorry.
You have to come up here.
just like everybody else.
So I got something to write with. Well, Kevin, hi, Bill Dutton. Sorry about your crappy deal. One of the things, anyway, I would ask that you grade up to the Indian Meadows. They have a operation that's gonna go on there at the end of May, and gotta move some horse trailers up there, and I'm hoping not to lose an axle. So, there's some pretty big potholes. I thought maybe we could get some VW Volkswagens to run in there and plug the holes. But anyway, if you would mind shoving some dirt in there, that would be awesome. I really appreciate it. And thank you. All right, thanks for the good job that you do. For those of you who don't, I'll be right done in a second. No more joke. For those of you who don't know, that the Public Works does a good job. And when we call them, we have a good relationship. They come out on fires, whatever we have, even a plane wreck, they'll bring out signs, those kind of things. So thank you, Kevin, and crew, appreciate it.
Thank you, sure.
If you've got a question, if you'll stand up, please.
Yeah, me?
Yeah,
Okay,
state
Lori
your
Welty.
name.
Lori Welty, hi. So, North First Avenue,
Excuse me?
North First Avenue by the Catholic Church is part of the Lincoln RID, and it's historically graded and bagged. Last year, it wasn't touched, and I didn't hear it on the list, so I'm just asking about that road. And there is a sewer pump station on that road, so,
Okay.
okay.
Great question, Lori. Yes, so the Lincoln and Lambkin RIDs are kind of special for Lincoln, right? Most of our RIDs are rural improvement districts, if you will, in town, are 100% usually done by contracted work. There's 5 that are kind of grandfathered in, I believe 5, that the county actually performs the maintenance within the rural improvement district. So Augusta, Lincoln, Colorado Gulch, Beartooth, I think there's one more. Yes, we were supposed to do that. I'm not sure why it didn't get done, but all the spur streets, we usually grade and mag every single year. So I apologize it didn't get done. I was not aware of that, but absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do. So your folks, the assessment you folks pay is for those materials. You're very lucky because you get basically free equipment and labor for snow plowing and all those other services within Lincoln. So your service preservation work, asphalt patching, your chip seal dollars that you save for on an ongoing basis, and also your mag chloride. We grade it, and similar, if anybody lives on 4x4, that was the other one I was thinking about. I guess there's two in Lincoln. 4x4 set up the same way. County provides all the maintenance, and the folks pay a little bit of an assessment to get dust control on that road. So that is your question, Lori?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get it on the radar for you. You bet.
One other question on public works, where we're trying to get some public comment for the grant funding on the Birdtail Road bridge over Flat Creek. And is anybody aware of that request for public comments? This is an important part. We're going to we're trying to get some big grants for that work over there. And if you have any kind of an interest in that bridge over there, or know people that would, please get a hold of either one of us or Dan Carlin, our county engineer, so we can get some public works, some requests from the public in to support our request for a grant.
Mr. Chair, great comment. The public comment is super important on all the grants we do, folks. For, you know, I think we got 15 or 16 of them going right now, but when we submit those packages, it's great to have a folder that has, you know, resident concerns and resident support when we're sending that for federal dollars and stuff. So I think Mr. Thompson, you know, the one Sunny Slope, he lives right there. If anybody else, yeah, just please reach out to us if anybody would like to. We'll help you. We have templates. You don't have to do a bunch of creative writing and things like that. You know, just read it, maybe put a signature on it would be awesome for us, because seriously, we rely on those pretty heavily. If you guys look at your tax statement, I don't want to get into a bunch of taxes. You got road tax, right? You got road mill levy tax. If you add those up, it's not very much. Maybe about 4% of the total tax base total, 60, 80 bucks maybe. So we heavily rely on those for bridge work, federal land access program grants, things of that nature to help us with road improvements. So your help is appreciated, as Commissioner Rolfe indicated.
You bet. Any other questions for Public Works? Any questions for Public Works? All right.
You guys are easier today, thank you.
Thank you. We've got Public Health, Jacob Miles.
Thank you, Chair Rolfe, Commissioner Payne. My name is Jacob Miles, and I run the Safer Communities Montana program for Lewis and Clark Public Health, which is one of our suicide prevention programs. This program focuses on lethal means safety. So I brought a box of goodies with me. There's free gun locks. If anybody wants to take them home with you, please do so. This program has been going on since 2020. And we have expanded it quite a bit to go from just gun locks to drug deactivation kits, lock boxes, handgun safes, gun cases, anything we can get our hands on that we can give out to folks in the county so they have ways to properly store or dispose of what are considered lethal means, which are the things that are the most likely to cause someone to die by suicide if they attempt. But in good news, because normally whenever I talk about this, I'm talking about suicide rates and the number of people we've lost. But the good news is that suicide rates in Lewis and Clark County are in decline and have been since 2020. In 2020, our rate of suicide in the county was 28 per 100,000 people. As of 2024, because the 2025 numbers aren't out just yet, that number is down to 22. So as the county continues to grow and as our population increases, our suicide rates are continuing to go down, which is a huge win. Obviously 22 is still a lot higher than I want it to be, but We're really happy to see that all of the efforts, both public health and the other organizations that are doing work in the county, are being successful in bringing our suicide rates down. And on top of that, with this program specifically, because a lot of the work I do is in firearm safety, the number of firearm-related deaths in the county have also continued to decrease. So we're really excited to see that the work that we're doing at public health is helping not only in the suicide realm, which is the focus, but outside of that as well. So I do have the gun box with me. I have some other stuff out in my car if 25 was not enough, but I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm always happy to bring a car full of supplies up here for folks in Lincoln if you ever would like me to do so.
Any questions for public health?
Eric Gould, representing the Veterans Association of Lincoln. We'd like to reach out to work with you because we are a certified center for PTSD and suicide prevention from the VA. Fortunately, we had one recently, but yes, we're on the same thing. We're trying to reach out and get more information out to our vets and regular community members that there are centers here in Lincoln that you can come to, and we'd like to work with the county officials to know that that is available here in Lincoln, and we do cover the entire Blackfoot Valley. So we actually go outside of the Lewis and Clark, so we do go into Powell and Missoula also, because we cover from Ovando, Hamville to here. Okay, so that's just an FYI.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, I appreciate that. The gun locks that I had to give out actually came from the VA, so they'll probably look real familiar to you. We are really happy to continue our work with both the Montana Department of Veterans Affairs and the federal VA as well, just because of the access that they give us to such a at-risk group of veterans like myself, like I'm sure many of the people in this room. We've unfortunately all probably lost somebody to this, so any way that we can get information in front of folks, we're happy to do.
Any other questions for Public Health Department? Thank you. We've got a special presentation today from NorthWestern Energy, and I'm going to introduce Wes Feist. Wes is a representative for NorthWestern. He also is on the City Council for East Helena.
Thank you, Commissioner, Chair, and Commissioner, and welcome to. We appreciate you welcoming us to be here today. Wanted to introduce some folks that I brought along from NorthWestern Energy. Myself, Wes Feist, Community Relations Manager out of the Helena Division. So working with Lincoln community, I appreciate and get to do as often as possible. I brought along with me here today Max Rebholz, who is on our wildfire mitigation and operations team. Lori Nelson, who is out of Sims, but works with us in Helena and throughout the Great Falls Division as well, and Hatter Division. So big portion of the state. With NorthWestern Energy, and then also Cliff Johnson, our town manager, who you all probably know the best in this community, and who we appreciate so much. As Mr. Horn mentioned earlier, we appreciate too, the winter was especially tough in a different way for you folks here in Lincoln. We tried to do all we could during those windstorms to get you back in service and in power, and appreciate to the greatest extent Zach Muse, the volunteer fire chief, who was great at corresponding and communicating with us as we were trying to make sure we were working out details and helping you folks, no matter how far down the line you were, to make sure that you got your power back as we could. So we appreciate y'all very much and look forward to working with the Lincoln community as time goes on, as we have throughout the years, but we are working with Sculpture in the Park, doing some grants. We have with the Veterans Group, we also have with the Senior Center and the Food Bank, and we look forward to whatever we can do for the Lincoln community. We can't always say yes, but we want to be able to help if we can. So please reach out to us as you need to or have the opportunity to. I'm happy to leave my contact information and welcome that. But why you're really here today and why we came up today is to talk about wildfire mitigation. So I want to turn it over to our friend Max.
Excellent. Thanks, Wes. So my name is Max Rebholz, work for NorthWestern, Wildfire Public Information Manager in the wildfire operations space. And I brought a couple handouts I'll just pass around. One of them is just our wildfire mitigation plan on one side, and then the other side of that sheet is our public safety power shutoff plan. And then we have this is an infographic that describes our mitigation activities. So I like to think of our wildfire mitigation activities in two different buckets. We have our long-term strategies and our short-term strategies. So our long-term strategies is things like grid hardening, replacing conductors, replacing poles, replacing cutouts, more sectionalizing the circuits, undergrounding overhead lines when we can. To do those sort of repairs, we first go out and make assessments on the infrastructure to identify what repairs need to be made. So to date, we've completed about 33 miles of inspections. We have 58 more miles to be completed this year. And then there's a plan to replace 40 poles in the Lincoln area. And the idea of those poles is they'd be more resilient to wind events, more resilient to if fire kind of encroaches on them. They might be able to be higher than the trees to clear it, so vegetation doesn't knock into the power lines. And then speaking of vegetation management, that's another one of our long-term strategies. It's something that we do every year on a yearly basis, but it's just a continuous cycle, and it kind of speaks for itself. But it's just maintaining our right-of-ways to make sure there's no understory in the right-of-ways, and to reducing conflicts of trees that could potentially fall into our lines that are outside the right-of-ways. So we work with land management agencies, private landowners. If there's a tree outside of our right-of-way that's leaning and that could fall into our line, we'll work with those agencies or landowners to address those vegetation issues, or those potential vegetation issues. Our short-term strategies, that's basically just, it involves changing how we operate the grid on specific high-risk days. And so the two strategies that we use for that are enhanced power line safety settings and then public safety power shutoffs are our two strategies for that. And the enhanced power line safety settings, how you think of that is, say on a normal or on a windy day, you see your lights start flickering on and off, on and off. That's due to usually a fault occurring on the line, and the system is trying to clear that fault on its own. So that's why you see those lights flickering. However, under high-risk conditions, say that falls to the tree branch contacting the line, we don't want the system to try to automatically clear that fault because the tree branch can serve as a source of ignition. So we can tell the system to, if it recognizes the fault is detected, such as a tree branch contacting the line, to cut off power immediately to prevent the ignition of a fire. So that's enhanced power line safety settings. Those are in place most often on a hot, dry, windy summer day. There's no real advanced public communication when those settings are in place. However, if there is an outage that occurs, it's more of a reactive, unplanned outage. So you can receive notification from that going into your NorthWestern Energy, My Energy account, and like to receive outage notifications. So you'll be notified of an outage. But those are the things that we most often employ or enable are those enhanced power line safety settings. When we are at extreme winds, say the December 17th wind event that occurred, if that happened on a hot, dry August day, we would consider using a public safety power shutoff, which is the proactive de-energization of lines ahead of a wind event. Again, so it's lessons learned from what happened in Maui, what happened in California, what happened in Colorado. Utilities don't start a large amount of wildfires, but the ones that utilities across the West have started are some of the more catastrophic and devastating wildfires. So yeah, we'll use this public safety power shutoff as a last resort measure to stop wildfires or prevent wildfires from starting in the first place. And Lincoln is an area that is susceptible to those public safety power shutoffs. We haven't done one yet across our service territory, but our communication process is we'll start direct communications to customers in the watch phase, which is on the back side of that wildfire mitigation plan. Fact sheet, you can see our staged approach. So think of it as like a kind of a normal weather alert process. We use watch, warning, alert, and effects and restoration. If time allows, we'll try to notify customers directly through email, text, phone call, in that watch phase, which is at least 2 days before the forecasted event. And then as we move through, we'll continue updating customers throughout the time frame of what the PSPS might be or may not be doing. We could cancel the public safety power shutoff for PSPS at any time during this process. Our website will always serve as a source of truth. We'll be updating our social media. We have a map on our website that shows the area that's impacted.
Excuse me, if we don't have electricity, our computers are not going to be operational, right?
Your phones will be, most likely, depending upon what outage may occur. Your phone will probably still serve as a conduit for you to.
Yeah, if you're gonna, Wes, if you should come up and
Sure.
catch us at
Sorry, Commissioner Rolfe and Commissioner Payne, your cell phone will most likely still be able to serve as that option to be able, depending on your internet service, depending on what service you do have, to be able to go onto the website to take a look. You're right, you will not probably have power for a computer, but you would still have usage of your phone.
If you had remembered to plug it in.
Yep.
I can't help you with that part.
I mean, we are all
Yeah.
slaves to these modern conveniences, and
Yep.
And if there are questions on that front as well, and you have access to just a phone, you are also welcome to contact the phone number that we have during major storms, especially the one that occurred that
how
affected.
would we contact the phone number? The
So
phone is
I
dead.
would encourage you to put the Northwestern Energy 1-800 number into your phone so that you have that programmed, so that if you do need assistance in the future, that it's there. We don't have a number as easy as 911, but I would encourage you to put that in. The other part of it is the major wind event that occurred, 2 of them that occurred throughout the state, affected the whole state, so our lines were quite backed up. There were thousands and thousands of people without power and contacting us. But if it's a localized event, you'll have much more success at getting in touch with us on the phone if you had to. The other part is that Mr. Johnson, if he's here, will probably be out and around serving your town. And so you'll see him as well up in this area, so.
And that's part of the plan of providing that advanced notifications. We provide, preparedness messages in there, charge critical devices ahead of time. Maybe it could involve, trying to find a friend or neighbor to charge devices at. Another thing that we would likely look to do is coordinate with the Red Cross and set up community resource centers or charging stations. So we can use like the library or the school, for example. We have generators that can be dispatched and set up a place where people can charge and get information that method as well. But yeah, I mean, public safety power shutoffs, they can affect telecom services. So we try to alert the telecom service providers well in advance, and they can go out and stage fuel at their service tower locations and make sure that those phone lines are up and running too. So it's a major coordinated effort, and again, it's a step that we don't take lightly and sure hope we never have to do, but again, we don't want to see what happened in Maui, California, et cetera, happen here. And that's why I talked about some of the long-term strategies. As we implement more of those long-term strategies, the grid hardening, increase in our vegetation management, the goal is that the use of public safety power shutoffs and these enhanced power line safety settings decreases over time.
You have any questions for Northwestern Energy? Yes, if you come on up and state your name again and ask the question.
I'm Rick Foreman. I'm also on the cemetery board.
Let me ask you where.
The lower cemetery in Morris Drive, there's an acre. The upper cemetery is the old cemetery of Lincoln Gulch. But at the lower cemetery, power poles come down the road, and there's a spur line wire that goes right down the fence line to a pole. It goes nowhere. But along that fence line, there's trees all around, all over that wire. It's a dead wire, I think. I don't know if you want to take the wire out. Apparently, at one time, they used to have a pump down there for irrigation or something. But there's a pole with a wire going, and it's in the trees. I know last year, had a contractor in the Lincoln Springs area litigating, cutting trees and branches off of the lines. And they wasn't a very good contractor. You'd see them sitting in their truck most of the time. Anyway, that's another story. And also, the cemetery is doing the cemetery cleanup for this spring, May 16th. So if anybody wants to come help clean up the cemetery, and hopefully the power company will cut them trees out of
Cliff, can I ask you to?
Any other,
Would
any
you
other
mind?
questions? Go ahead.
Okay.
If it wasn't trimmed out,
Please come on over so we can catch your,
what's that?
please come over so we can catch your comments on it.
Yeah, be recorded.
My name's Cliff Johnson, I'm a small-time manager here for Lincoln, for NorthWestern Energy. And, I will definitely go look at the, tree in question, or the
there.
trees.
See it, lower cemetery, you know where it is?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I haven't noticed it.
There's one tree that's broke and it's laying in, it didn't hit the wire, but
Yeah, and there's, if anybody has a tree that they're concerned about, by all means, call the service center and a number, and, get it reported, I'll go look at it. Sometimes there's things I can do, if it's too far off the right of way, then we have to go through a process in order to maybe get that taken care of. Yeah, the wind events that we had and the snow and everything, there's still some residual stuff going on from that, and it's just gonna take time. If you see something, say something.
What's the number for the service center?
I will look that up for us. I don't know the number on top of my head.
We need to get some of those cards like Kevin has.
Yeah.
While he's looking that up, can I just say one comment that I always say?
Please come over, yeah.
It's a little bit off topic, but he'll get that for a second. I just say this every chance I get. Hi, I'm Lori Nelson. I'm community relations from the Great Falls area, but I live in Sims. There has been a rash of scam calls happening, actually for a little while now, but it seems like they're kind of spiking. And I just want to let you all know, NorthWestern Energy will never call you and demand urgent payment or threaten to shut your power off right then and there. If you get one of those calls, just hang up and call our actual service number and say, I just got this call, was that really you guys? Double check it. No one will ever call you and say, pay or we'll shut you off right now. Done.
And thank you. For the record, the phone number to contact the service number is 467-2669. And my direct phone number to my office, which is forwarded to my cell phone, is your community relations manager. I'm happy to give you two. And that number, again, my name is Wes. First name Feist is my last name, Feist. And my direct line is 406-443-8934. And typically during emergency events, we do correspond with folks like Mr. Muse, or the county commissioners, or the county emergency manager. And so we will continue to work with those folks. But should you have issues that you're not getting resolved through the typical means, that's my phone number, and it's on the website as well, should you need that. So, thank you. Commissioners,
Any other questions for NorthWestern Energy? Please stand.
Lori Welty, aren't you glad I don't come to all your meetings?
We'd love to have you come in.
First of all, I want to thank Cliff and compliment him for the December situation. He was amazing, really, really. We're glad to have him. But my question is, whether NorthWestern Energy is familiar with any funding opportunities, grants for generators, for people to secure generators, if there's anything available. I could Google it, but you're here, so I'm going to ask you.
Yeah. No, that's yeah, so starting this year, I started launching a backup power grant program, donation program. Haven't fully announced it yet, but it will be available on our website once it is more fully announced. But the skinny of it is it's intended for critical facilities in high-risk areas where we're more likely to do a PSPS. So if there's a critical like nursing home or like long-term care facility here in Lincoln, we can provide up to like a $4,000 rebate to purchase a backup power station for that facility to go purchase. Then we can issue the rebate back. So it's not really a grant, it's more of a rebate, you know? But yeah, so that's part of the goal, is to start piloting that this year and then have it grow legs and be a more broad scale impact for future years.
But no private, like home or what?
No, and again, yeah, starting with the critical facilities piece first, and then as it grows, then we can maybe help out like lower income or just high risk individuals. But start with the critical facilities to begin with.
Other questions for Northwestern Energy? Other questions? Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we've pretty much gone through our agenda. And I want to mention before we get any further that the next meeting is scheduled for June 5th here in this room. And encourage you pass the word around, bring others with you. We love having a big crowd like this to come out. We always, also, for those of you who are new to our meetings, we always offer at the end of every meeting an opportunity for people to bring up things that are of concern, that are under the purview of your county commission, but not on today's agenda. So and we'll offer that here in just a couple of minutes. Somebody has something that they'd like to bring up, it's not on today's agenda, we'd like for you to bring those questions up or your concerns up. So, is there any public comment? Please stand and come over to the speaker.
I do want to hand these out to you guys first, just so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is a letter I just typed up so that everybody kind of has an idea. Some of my concerns. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Tammy Jordan. I am a longtime resident here in Lincoln, over 17 years. While I understand that these county commissioners, and thank you for letting me speak, Chairman and County Commissioner, I know that you can't be involved in all of the dealings for the sewer district, but there are some things that I would like to get addressed on the record and hopefully have some answers to, whether it's at this meeting or a later meeting. Before I get into that, I do want to say to Eric, thank you for bringing all of that information to us here today. That's really good information to know. Also, Kevin, thank you so much for 4x4 Road and all the work you guys are doing, and with the possible assist with that stop sign. It's very much appreciated. First of all, the Sewer District Board itself is acting completely out of line with their duties. They have overstepped their bounds on several occasions, gone against their own bylaws, and have left Lincoln in a very vulnerable position. We have no licensed technician, and we have board members who are not licensed performing duties on equipment. Second, I'd like to direct your attention to those items I just gave to you as I came up to talk. These are screenshots of posts made by 2 members of our sewer board, posted on both their public social media accounts, on their personal pages, and in public forums. The one on your second page has since been deleted from that individual's, I should say the top half has been deleted from their Facebook account, after I know that a community member here went to the county and reported it because it was offensive and it appeared threatening. So those are just there for your reference. I and others in this community find these disturbing and unbecoming of people who represent us publicly. Additionally, one of those members on the board is also a county employee. That would also be your second page. That is a county employee who posted all of that. And I can't imagine that the county would condone this type of behavior from their own employees. I even asked the commissioners and those of you working for the public county, what would have happened if you had posted things like that to your personal account? What would have been the consequences? Third, I'd like to go back to our recall positions. I appreciate all of the help that everybody on the commissioners has helped us with, Tom, especially you for following up. There was an individual, I do want to really address this, and I'm sorry that I'm not addressing it sooner. I've been away for the last 2 government day meetings.
when we were doing the recalls, there was an individual who came into this library. He said he was a close friend of a county commissioner. And in his words, he said, "We're very concerned about the sewer board district, the sewer board situation here in Lincoln." I also know this individual to be a neighbor of sewer board Mike Winters. He came into this very room while I was alone, while I was just manning petitions. I was not doing anything except sitting at a table in the corner with 2 petitions in front of me. He tried to bully me at that point and was a little bit aggressive. He demanded to know how I was verifying signatures on those petitions, which is not my job as somebody who's collecting them. My job is to take the signatures. The county elections office is the one who verifies those signatures. He then demanded to know if we had people to step up into these positions, should these people be recalled. I told him we did. He then told me I should be ashamed of myself for causing problems here in Lincoln. Lastly, when I was answering a question to another community member who came into this building to sign those petitions, he got up in my face and said, "Look, lady." There was another community member when he did it. My response was to stand up from behind the table and say, first of all, my name is not Lady. Second of all, my name is Tammy. And third of all, there is no reason to raise your voice at me. After this other person was in, he sort of apologized after I stood up for myself, and he left shortly after. My point in telling you all of this is I've lived in Lincoln for more than 17 years. I know a lot of you in this room. I have never been afraid to go anywhere in this town by myself. And I'm gonna get emotional on this because I moved here for a reason. Never been afraid to be in Lincoln by myself. Never been afraid to be in this room alone by myself, ever, until that day. Now I'm cautious. Lincoln's my home. Lincoln is a lot of your home. I do not want to feel threatened in my town by people who are bullying people. This has now turned into more of an issue than an issue with just the sewer district. This has now turned into a matter of safety in our small town. Lastly, while I know the county elections office is busy, it's a busy time, it's elections. I would like some clarification as to why the recall process is taking so long and why the steps for the actual recall process were never actually outlined for us. We were told to gather signatures. We did. They were verified, and there were more than the required signatures to proceed with this recall against 2 board members. Then, after that, we find out that the individuals in question would have time to respond, which they should. I agree with that. However, that was almost 4 weeks ago. When Susie Gehring checked in last week with Connor at the elections office to see where things stood, she was told the recall ballots would not go out until the earliest July. I am asking the county commissioners, I know it's not in your purview to oversee this board, but you did help us with those recalls and getting the things expedited. And I'm asking if there's anything you can do to expedite these ballots. The community of Lincoln deserves this put behind us once and for all, and I believe that you guys can help us do it. Thank you.
Well, it's been our practice that when something is brought to our committee, that we don't necessarily respond, but we will research the item. If there's appropriate response, we will do that at that time.
I would appreciate that.
Are there other, yes?
Mr. Sherman, Commissioner Payne, members of the community. My name is Krista Lee Evans, and I'm with the Gold Mine. I'm with Sentinel Metals, the Columbia Gold and Silver Project, and I wanted to come and introduce myself. I'm VP of Government and Community Relations. I have some cards, I have some fact sheets that I'm more than happy to share with folks. One of the big things I do want to bring up is we're not actually a mine. We're proposing an exploration program with 21 holes is what we're proposing.
Thank you to those of you who were able to attend our open house. We really appreciate that. And I wanted to give you an update on the process and where that's at today. So public comment was due to the Department of Environmental Quality on April 13th. There were over 2,200 individual letters submitted with 10,000 comments on our little baby 21-hole drill project. So DEQ's drop dead date on their response will be June 7th because they only have 90 days from the notice of completion that we received. So that's where we're at in the process. DEQ is required by law to respond to each of those comments that are substantive. So what we're doing in the interim is we have kicked off our environmental baseline studies. That includes everything from groundwater and surface water monitoring and development of sites. We're doing wildlife vegetation. Part of it is we haven't been able to get up to site quite yet. I'm gonna try again today. It's always fun to go out there with my chainsaw and mess around a little bit. So we're doing that. I am opening a storefront here in Lincoln. I hope to have that in place by the next couple of weeks so that folks that have questions, concerns, comments, thoughts can come and find me. It'll be in Ox and Sons, and it's just gonna take me a little bit of time to get that put together, but that's where we're at. Happy to answer any questions. I'll hand out my cards. I've got some fact sheets. Just wanted to make sure that you guys all knew who I was and that you can reach out to me anytime you want. Thank you.
Are there any other public comment?
Okay, Lori Bugsy again. So I'd like to go back to the issue with the school board. So obviously there is a recall in place and we will be getting ballots. I think we can all agree that just the fact that there is a recall in process is not a common occurrence. It's pretty rare, I think, that we do have recalls here. So there is a reason for the recall. The community felt strong enough to initiate that. My question is, I'm looking ahead because I'm very disappointed at the delay in the ballot coming out because it affords the board members that are on the recall continued opportunity to skirt past their duties according to, or functioning according to bylaws and the Montana Code Annotated, which they're supposed to be observing. So I do have, I'm looking ahead, because my concern is if the recalls don't actually go through and these individuals remain on that board and continue doing things like having meetings that have a quorum, supposedly, that haven't been noticed. Not all board members have been notified of these non-public meetings. Case in point, there was a set of meeting minutes that was presented to the bank within the last week that removed signatory, which is one of the board members, removed them from the bank account for the sewer district and put a different board member on as signatory. The bank requires that meeting minutes are that cover that action or that decision be presented to the bank. That meeting was, I've been to the last two public sewer board meetings. That item was never discussed. I would be very curious to see those meeting minutes to determine when that meeting was held, who was in attendance, and whether all the board members were noticed of that meeting. They're not supposed to be having meetings of that nature that have not been publicly noticed. That's not a disciplinary, that's not an executive session. So this is just one of many, many concerns, many actions that have been taken that are not following the public meeting notices, the bylaws for the board, you name it, and the list goes on. The recall petition only allows 200 words, and there is no way, we could probably have almost 200 paragraphs that cover the things that have been going on. So my question to the commissioners is, in referencing the Montana Code Annotated Title 7, Chapter 4, Part 21, where it talks about supervision of county and other officers, I've read and reread this, and it appears to me that the county commissioners, do have the opportunity for the supervision of county and other officers. So I wanted to publicly request and get this out there that should that recall petition not be successful, and we're now going to continue to suffer under what's been happening, do we have a recourse? What county commissioner is willing to have some of the community members come in and actually list, and there's proof of so much of this. We just need someone that is willing to lend us an ear and they can do their job according to what I read and help the community out by the next step if a recall isn't successful. So that's my question.
Thank you. If you make sure that any of you want responses, that your contact information is on the sign-up sheet.
Yes, I have to put it on there, it's not on there yet.
All right. Is there any other public comment?
When are you ready to answer to that question?
No,
Yes,
but not at this point.
Okay, but when and how, I guess is my question.
We'll just have to look at it, talk to legal counsel and make sure that we're responding in an appropriate manner.
Okay.
All
I'm
right?
gonna make a note on my name that I'm the one that asked that question, okay?
All right.
If you don't listen to that, thank you.
All right. Any other public comment? Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, we're adjourned.